प्रणमामि वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to the morning discussions on the Madhurya Kadambini. I hope you all had a wonderful Krishna Janmashtami celebration. So let's begin again with the Mangalacharan, two verses of Madhurya Kadambini. Ridva Prenava Bhaktishasya Vitate Sanjeevani Swagama रम्बे कामतपतरुदाहदमनि विश्वापगुल्लासिनी धूरान्मे मरुशाकिनोऽपि सरसि भावाय भूयात् प्रभो श्रीचैतन्यकृपानिरङ्कुशमहा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्य कृपा निरंकुश महा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी श्रीचैतन्य कृपा निरंकुश महा माधुर्य कादम्बिनी. Very beautiful verse. Everyone should make sure that they memorize this verse. Bhakti purve shitatam tu rasam pashyedyadatadhi tam naumi satatam rupa nama priya janam harihe. So in the last class, if you remember, we are almost at the end of this chapter. After Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has established how bhakti is independent and bhakti doesn't depend on faith, bhakti doesn't depend on time, place, circumstances, nor even purity, nor even faith, then bhakti doesn't even, depend on jnana. Sometimes it is said that jnana is the doorway to bhakti. So that also he disproves it. So maybe in the beginning, it might be some useful, but once one enters bhakti, no, Gyan and Vairagya are not the limbs of bhakti. So this is what we, in fact, discussed in the last class. Bhakti is not one of the means to attaining Gyan. And we saw how, Muktim dadati karhichit smana bhakti yogam. The Lord easily gives mukti, but He doesn't easily give bhakti. So yesterday, not yesterday, in the last class we saw that. And then muktana papi siddhanam narayana parayana. Even the muktas, that means those are jivan muktas by the gyan process, and even the siddhanams. The siddhanams are the yogis who have attained salokya. They are not prashanta because if because of offenses they might fall down. But the Narayan Parayan is prashanta. So the superiority of path of bhakti has been established here. So all this we discussed in the last class. Today we are only going to discuss only two phrases, and that will complete the discussion. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has firmly established the independent and the supreme power of bhakti. But nevertheless, some people will wonder, about the scriptural text that place Gyan above Bhakti as the means of attaining God. They place Gyan above Bhakti because as a means of attaining the Lord. So this is a very important thing, and he clarifies now in this phrase. इंद्र एव प्रधानीकृत्य स्वयं गुणी भवतोपेन्द्रेण तं सर्वथा पुष्णात स्वकृपालुत्वमेव यथा विज्ञेषु जनेषु प्रत्यायते न स स्वप्रकाश तथैव ज्ञानं पुष्णातयस्तत्तत् प्रकरणवाक्येषु तस्य भक्तिरनुग्रह एव सुदुभिर अनुगम्यते इति इंद्रम एव प्रधानीकृत्य स्वयं गुणी भवत उपेन्द्रेण तम सर्वथा पुष्णात स्वकृपालत्वम् एव यथा अभिज्ञे जनेषु प्रत्यायते न तु स्वप्रकाशस. When the Lord as Upendra becomes subservient to Indra, Indram eva pradhanikritya swayam guni bhavat Upendra, to give him support. He did so as his mercy. Tam sarvata pushnata. Pushnata means to give support, portion. That is what? Swakripalatvam. It is his mercy. He is not inferior to Indra. He is not actually inferior. In this manner, bhakti being merciful becomes a limb of Gyan just to give support to Gyan. Eva yatha abhigya janeshu pratyaya natu sapasha. तथैव ज्ञानं पुष्णातस्तत्तत् प्रकरण वाक्येषु तस्य भक्तिर अनुग्रह एव सुधीभिर अनुगम्यते. Similarly, this is the understanding of the intelligent, abhigya, Similarly, tathaiva, Shastra is establishing Gyan as the supreme path. Jnanam pushnati tat tat prakarana vakyeshu. Bhakti, describe bhakti as a part of Gyan. The wise, Sudhubhir, Sudhibhir, wise, however, know that Bhakti Devi, who is the most independent, nourishes Gyan by mercifully accepting the Sattva mode of goodness by becoming a part of Gyan. Bhakti Anugraha eva. So she takes the inferior position, just like Upendra takes the inferior position to Indra in order to support him. So this is how it happens. Okay. I'll just go through now phrase by phrase. We have read this already. If Gyan sometimes appears to take an inferior, superior position to Bhakti, it is only because Bhakti is mercifully playing the role of an assistant. It is an assistant. Upendra, the Supreme Personality God of himself, became subservient to Indra to give him support. Indram eva pradhani kartam swayam. Exalted, realized souls have confirmed that this revealed not his inferior position, but rather his unsurpassed mercy. Swakripalatvam. So, the point here, what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is trying to make is sometimes Jnanis are very well aware that they cannot attain perfection in their path of Jnana without the help of Bhakti. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a verse, Bhakti vina kono sadhana dite na pare phale. Bhakti vina, without Bhakti, kono sadhana, any sadhanas, whether it is Jnana, Karma, Yoga, dite na nare phala. They cannot give the fruit. So the Jnanis know this. And that's why, because they have the goal of Jnana, that is to attain liberation, over the goal of Bhakti, which is to attain Prema, Bhakti takes a subordinate role in assisting the Jnana Sadhaka because he has the desire for liberation. So, these persons who have Jnana as their main practice and Bhakti is only secondary. Guni Bhav, Bhavat Upendra. Guni means, secondary role. Bhakti takes a secondary role. And this type of Bhakti, where Bhakti takes a secondary role and Pradhanikam is Karma, Jnana or Ashtanga. What type of Bhakti is it called? Anyone knows? What type of Bhakti is it called?
Mission.
1 minute. Please raise your hands to answer. What type of bhakti is it called? Anyone knows? We have discussed this. Kapil Dev Prabhuji, yes. Yes, Prabhuji.
मिश्रित भक्ति प्रभु जी.
Huh? Can you
मिश्रित
speak a
भक्ति.
Mishrit Bhakti? No, it is not called
अच्छा.
Mishrit. You have to be very clear what type of Mishrit Bhakti, you're
Sorry,
speaking.
what was the question? Maybe I missed that.
Where Gyan is predominant in order to attain liberation and Bhakti takes a secondary role, Guni, secondary role. So what type of Bhakti is it called? Anand Manaktala Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it is Gyan Mishra Bhakti.
Jnana Mishra Bhakti, no. You are giving us answers this is all in the category of Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti. Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti means Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti. These are all Pradhani Bhuta Bhaktis. Pradhan. Bhakti is Pradhan there. But there is a mission of Karma, Jnana or Yoga. But here, when the Jnana is predominant with the desire for liberation, and Bhakti takes a Guni role, secondary role, what is it called? What type of Bhakti is it called? See? After we are almost finishing this chapter, and still we are not able to understand the glories of Bhakti. We have discussed this. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to try? Shubham Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Harsha Radha Mataji. Yes, 1 minute, Shubham Prabhuji. Let us hear Harsha Radha Mataji. She has volunteered to answer. Yes. What is it called?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, is it Satvik ki Bhakti?
Satviki Bhakti. It is actually Guni Bhuta Bhakti, it is called. It is called as Guni Bhuta Bhakti. So, yes, Satviki Bhakti is also, a category which you can say, yes, it can be Satviki Bhakti also. But specifically the term we can use is Guni Bhuta Bhakti. So we have to understand in the Bhagavad Gita, chapters 1 to 6, there is Karma Yoga. Actually, there is only Karma Yoga. There is Bhakti Mishra Karma. Karma is Pradhan. That's why the term Mishra Bhakti, somebody answered, but it was not clear. Karma is Pradhan here. Then it is Bhakti Mishra Gyan. So the Gyan is Pradhan. That's why this is called as Gyan Yoga. This is called as Karma Yoga. And there is Bhakti Mishra Yoga. So this is called as Ashtanga Yoga. Yoga is Pradhan. So there is a Bhakti which is taking a Gauna role. So this is called as Guni Bhuta Bhakti. Please note down this, otherwise. And in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7 to 12, there are only two types of bhakti discussed. And there is only two types of bhakti which is, which is seen in the one is Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti. And then other is Kevala Bhakti. Kevala Bhakti is also called as Shuddha Bhakti, Ananya Bhakti, Akinchana Bhakti, Nirguna Bhakti, then Nishkama Bhakti, and Uttama Bhakti, Sabhakti Uttama. So Pradhani Bhuta is, there is Karma Mishra Bhakti. Oh, sorry. Karma Mishra Bhakti. Then there is Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Then there is Yoga Mishra Bhakti. So you can see here, see the difference here. This karma, jnana are coming, yoga are coming in the end. But here bhakti is coming in the end. That means bhakti is pradhan. Bhakti is pradhan in all these three paths. And there is a slight mixture of yoga, jnana or karma. So this is called as pradhani bhuta bhakti. Karma mishra bhakti. Uh, Jnana Mishra Bhakti and Yoga Mishra Bhakti. And there is Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha Bhakti is Anya Bilashita Shuni. Of course, there are again certain other, combinations here, which we will not go into. So, although Harsha Radha Mataji answered it is correct, it is a kind of Satviki Bhakti, which we are going to discuss now. Satviki Bhakti with a desire for liberation. If the desire for liberation is there, then it is Satviki Bhakti, where karma is pradhan and jnana is pradhan. Initially, karma is pradhan because by karma yoga, you cannot attain liberation. You cannot attain liberation. Ultimately, Nishkam Karma Yoga you perform, you purify your heart and then take up to Jnana or Ashtanga. So this we have to clearly understand. Yes. So sometimes Bhakti takes a secondary role in order for the Jnani to assist in his liberation. So Jnana is the main practice and then Bhakti is only secondary. Now, because Bhakti takes a secondary role, there is a doubt. What is the doubt? Is Bhakti completely independent? And the Bhakti, which the Jnanis practice, is called as Satvika Bhakti. This Satviki Bhakti means Bhakti in the modes of goodness. So if Bhakti is within the modes, then how Bhakti is transcendental? So these are the two questions which come up. So these two questions you have to understand very clearly. If Bhakti takes a secondary role in order to assist a Jnani in his sadhana to attain liberation, then firstly, what? Firstly, is Bhakti, first question is Bhakti what? Completely independent. Then Bhakti assists in Gyan. And this is called as what? This is called Bhakti in the mode of goodness. Right? So then the question arises, question is what? That if Bhakti is within the modes, how Bhakti is transcendental? How Bhakti is transcendental then? If Bhakti is... So how, Bhakti is taking an assistant role here. So how then bhakti is completely independent? And bhakti is within the modes. Satviki bhakti, it is bhakti in the mode of goodness. Then how bhakti is transcendental? So these are the two questions which arise. Now for that, Vishwanath Chakravarti gives the example of how Krishna appeared as Vaman Dev or Upendra. That is there in the 8th canto. So Krishna is fully independent, but yet he appeared as Indra's younger brother to serve Indra's interest. He begged these 3 steps of land from Bali, and he covered with the first step the entire middle region and the entire 3 regions up till Satyaloka. Third step. So he covered everything. And then the third step, there was no space. Then ultimately Bali surrendered. Actually, externally you see, it seems, real hero is Indra in this pastime, but actually the real hero is Bali, because Bali surrendered and ultimately attained the highest favor. Indra got the kingdom back because it's a material thing. But actually, if you see the pastimes of this Vaman Leela described in other scriptures, you will hearing that feel that, oh, Indra is really actually glorious. Yeah. Indra gets the favor, but actually the real favor Krishna does to Bali. Yeah. So that is why it is so subtle. Only in the Bhagavatam, the glory of Bali Maharaj is revealed. So similarly, when Vaman Dev gave back the kingdom to his older brother, and he also showed respect to Indra and protected him. So this doesn't mean that Vamana is inferior to Indra. Actually, it is the demonstration of the mercy of the Lord. So this doesn't make the Lord subordinate. So that is the Lord's mercy. Similarly, Bhakti Devi. Bhakti Devi. So whatever kind of realization one wants to attain, whether it is personal or impersonal, only with the help of bhakti one can attain the realization of either the personal or the impersonal form of the Supreme Lord. One is dependent on bhakti only. And Krishna is saying, Bhaktyamam abhijanati. I can be only realized by bhakti. Or Bhaktya aham ekaya grahaya. I am attained only by bhakti. So for these any other forms of realization, whether be it personal or impersonal, it is only by bhakti. So that is why bhakti, in order for the jnanis to attain liberation, has to take the secondary role so that they can, get the goal of liberation. Otherwise, without that bhakti, they cannot attain their goal. So that's why Bhakti Devi takes a secondary role. It takes a secondary role. From this evidence of the Gita and Bhagavad, it is clearly understood that only Bhakti can give realization of any form of the Lord. It is only practice of Gyan without Bhakti leads only to troubles and nothing else. Brahmaji in his prayers tells, Shreya Shritim Te Vibho. Kevala Klishyanti Bodhaya. We have already gone through that, right? Wise Jnanis thus do devotion along with the practice of non-personal Brahman. So Vishwanath Chakravarti here compares Bhakti's relation to Gyan with Upendra's relation to Indra. So Bhakti takes the inferior position in relation to Gyan out of her mercy, although she is independent, so that she can give the goal of Gyan to the Jnanis. Otherwise, they cannot attain that. So that is her compassion. So out of her own sweet will, she takes this inferior load so that they can attain bhakti. And that kind of bhakti is called as Satviki Bhakti. Now, the absolute truth has two manifestations, Savishesha, person, and Nirvishesha, impersonal. The non-personal manifestation, that is the Nirvishesha of the absolute truth is also beyond Maya. Now I'm answering this question. Please remember, how bhakti is in the mode of goodness. If it is, if bhakti is transcendental, then how it is it's taking the role of sattviki bhakti, right? So the non-personal manifestation of the absolute truth is also beyond Maya. Please remember that. One may ask then, why does bhakti accept satguna, which is material in nature, to give the realization of non-personal Brahman? Can bhakti not give that realization in its nirgun form? Bhakti is nirgun. Then why bhakti has to, take the, accept the satguna in order to give this impersonal realization? The answer is that bhakti is an eternal energy of the Lord. Energy means the capacity to do work. Now also we have capacity to do work because we are having energy from the modes, but the spiritual energy is devotional service. The qualification to get a certain work done is called Shakti or energy. The Lord's energy that reveals the Supreme Lord along with his energies to others is called Bhakti. By Bhakti only, the Lord reveals us. Nirguna Bhakti reveals the personal form of the Lord and his energies to Nishkam, unmotivated, or Gunatita, transcendental devotees. The heart of the Gyanis, however, is full of desire for mukti, which means they are sakam, motivated, or saguna, endowed with mundane qualities. Unless the heart becomes pure and free from all desires except the Lord, Bhakti Devi cannot manifest her nirgun form. The heart of the Gyanis are pierced with the yearning for liberation, so they have personal desires. Thus, Bhakti Devi fulfills their desires through the material mode of goodness. There is no other way for them to accomplish. So that is why Bhakti takes the role of inferior role or comes to the mode of goodness. So I'm just drawing a diagram here to again make things more clear. So, the absolute truth is called as, the Paratattva. Paratattva. And this is, okay, this is on the left side, So this is called as Nirvishesha. And this is the Savishesha. Spelling has come wrong. Please try to understand this. This is a very important diagram. And you can note down in your books also if you want. And Nirvishesh and the Savishesh. This is the impersonal form, non-personal we say sometimes. And this is the personal form. This is what is called as Bhagavan. Now, there are, in one sense, in the Uddhav Gita, it is mentioned that there are three paths to reach the absolute truth. But actually, there are only two paths. This is called as, the karma path. But here it is sakama karma. And then there is nishkama karma yoga. And only when one becomes the sthita pragya, then that is the door for him to attain entry door for him to take up to the jnana path. Now, jnana and ashtanga are considered as one only. There are only little subtle differences. And then he practices the jnana sadhana and then he becomes jivana mukta. He becomes jivan mukta. In the bhakti path, Shraddha, then there is sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, then anartha nivriti, nishta, ruchi, asakti, bhava, and then prema. And then he attains the Lord in his Sarvishesh form. Now, the entry door for Shuddha Bhakti is, Purna Shraddha, which is Sarvadharman Parityajya. Because this, Nirguna Bhakti means, the heart should be free from Mukti Spruha and Bhukti Spruha. So we are practicing bhakti, but that bhakti, there is a development of faith happening. And when that faith matures and we come to the point of Sarvadharman Parityajya and all our doubts are dispelled, and then we enter into actually, Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. This is Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. This is Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. And there is Bhava Bhakti and then Prema Bhakti, which is in Sadhya Bhakti. So, Bhakti takes an inferior role here because their hearts are not pure. That's why. So, that's why now I point why I drew this is basically to make the point here now. Please attentively hear and try to understand. This Jivan Mukta Jnani, he is practicing Jnana Sadhana. Gyan sadhana, and there is bhakti also. He worships the first person form of the Lord, because without bhakti, the gyan cannot give the fruit. Now, ultimately, when at the time of liberation, he has to give up. Krishna in the Uddhav Gita says, Jnanam mahi, Jnanam or Jnani mahi sanyasyat. Sanyasyat. Sanyasyate, I think it is. I don't know the verse. That means ultimately he has to give up that jnana and only bhakti stays. And by that, he will attain, liberation. And attain Brahman, the impersonal form. And this is transcendental, please remember. And only bhakti remains, and that bhakti is also transcendental, because by something material you cannot attain spiritual. By something material. So the Gyan sadhana is there even at this stage, and then he has to give up that also, because it is in the modes. It is in the modes, it is within the modes. So that is why this bhakti is within the modes of goodness, and ultimately bhakti takes this Satviki bhakti, takes this mode of goodness in order to assist the Jnani in order to obtain liberation. Now the example is given. We know these three modes. I'll just, sorry. We know these three modes are there. The mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now the goodness illuminates. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. We know this in the Bhagavad Gita. It's not transcendental, please remember. It is sattva. And rajas actually, colors. And ignorance, what it does? It covers. Avrit. So these are the three modes. So, but goodness cannot reveal transcendence. Transcendence. Please remember this. Goodness cannot reveal transcendence. It cannot reveal transcendence, but it assists. That is the point. It assists. Ultimately, that is why that bhakti only has to remain and he has to give up that gyan of goodness in order to attain liberation. That's the point I made. Now, there is a interesting example to understand this. You know, some thieves in the forest catch hold of a, merchant who is carrying very valuable jewels. Ultimately, they rob him completely. And then these three robbers, there are three robbers, and then they decide, after looting him, they think, one tells, we must kill him. Otherwise, he will, later on go and inform the king, and then we will be in trouble. Let us kill him. The second one says, no, we need not kill him. We will just tie him to this tree and let us leave, let us escape. The third one says, no, let us not tie him or kill him. He has lost his way in the forest. So let us show him the back pathway to his, city from the forest. So let us take him out of the forest and let him go out from this forest and reach his village. So all these three robbers had different views. So similarly, ignorance, like that robber trying to kill, ignorance destroys, passion binds. Like one of the robber told, no, let him bind. And goodness, actually what it does, goodness what? It brings light. Like he wanted him to be taken out from the forest. So, and it helps in reaching the absolute truth. So that is how bhakti mercifully accepts the mode of goodness in order to assist the Gyanis for their desire for, liberation. So this is the bhakti's compassion. So that's what, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is trying to say. I hope it is clear. And if you have any questions on this, we can take up. Any questions, any clarifications? Anyone has any doubts about this? It's quite a little subtle and it requires some deliberation to really understand. Any questions, any clarifications about this, what we discussed? No? Oh, you all understood. Very good. I'm very happy. Yes, Shubh Ekshana Krishna Prabhuji. Shubh Ekshana Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, as you rightly said, this requires at least twice to be heard and prepared notes and deliberation. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, now the last conclusion. This is very simple. Nothing much to speak on this. We'll just quickly cover this. Therefore, only an animal would reject bhakti. So having established all this now, he says only an animal would reject bhakti. Bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya Bhagavad Purana 11.331 iti bhakte phalam prema rupa sevite swayam purushartha mauli rupatvam tasya. The result of bhakti is another form of bhakti called prema. Thus, bhakti is the topmost goal of mankind. Prema swayam purushartha mauli rupatam tasya. तद एवं भागवत इव स्वरूप भूतया महाशक्ते सर्व व्यापकत्वम सर्व वशीकारित्वम सर्व संजीवनीकत्वम सर्वोत्कर्ष परम स्वातंत्र्यम स्वप्रकाशत्वम च किंचित उत्तंकितम तद अपि ताम विना अन्यत्र प्रवृत्तो प्रेक्षावत्तस्याभाव iti kim vaktavyam. The preeminent, all-pervading, totally independent, self-manifesting and life-giving nature of the great energy bhakti, Mahashakti, is of the same nature of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavati va Swarupam Bhutaya Mahashakte. And what it is? All-pervading, Sarva Vyapakatvam, Sarva Vashikaritvam, Sarva Sanjeevani Katvam, life-giving energy, Sarvotkarsha, preeminent, and Parama Swatantra, completely independent, and Swaprakashatvam. It is self-manifesting. So these are the 6 qualities of Bhakti. Bhakti is the Mahashakti of the Lord. This has been explained here. If one still prefers to a process other than Bhakti, that person should be considered bereft of power of good judgment. That's what he's saying. Tam vina anyatra pravritte preksha vattasya bhava kim tad vaktavya. Nartasyapi ko vena sevate vina netaram iti adibir avagamo drishtya. What else can be said? If one is a human but does not take up to the process of bhakti, then he should not be considered a human being at all. Ko vena sevita vina netaram. Who except an animal would not serve the Lord. So this is how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur concludes this discussion. Okay. So bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya iti bhakte phalam prema rupa sevete swayam purushartha mauli rupatvam tasya. The fruit of sadhana bhakti is prema bhakti, which itself is the topmost goal for mankind. Purushartha shiromani. Now here I would like to mention, this is a little important point to understand, and sometimes it is sadhana bhakti and then there is sadhya bhakti. Sadhya bhakti. Now sadhya bhakti has 2 divisions. This is bhava bhakti and then prema bhakti. So sadhana bhakti is also, what? Sadhana bhakti is also what? It is completely independent. It's completely, it is self-manifesting. Swaprakashatvam. So sadhana bhakti is, now then we are also practicing sadhana bhakti. Actually, this sadhana bhakti you should say is as Shuddha sadhana bhakti. Because savai pumsan paro dharma. Paro dharma means paradharma. Paradharma is parabhakti. Yatho bhakti rajokshaje. Bhakti there is, sadhya bhakti. That is bhava or prema bhakti. So only this kind of bhakti, when it is practiced, it will give the result of sadhya bhakti. So the Mishra bhakti, ultimately this Mishra bhakti has to come to the point of Shuddha sadhana bhakti. Anya bilashita shunyam. It has to come to that point. And then when Bhakti Devi manifest, when the heart is free from bhukti spruha, and mukti spruha. Then actually Shuddha sadhana bhakti will begin. So we are preparing our heart to ultimately, we are preparing our heart so that Bhakti Devi will manifest, and then sadhana bhakti. So we are also practicing sadhana bhakti, but that bhakti, sadhana bhakti is not pure in one sense. So this is bhakti. This is called as bhakti. And this is called as bhakti. Anyone knows what is this called? Anyone knows what it is called? Anyone? Anyone? It is called as abhas. Oh, sorry. Oh, because the abhas or abhas bhakti. Bhaktyabhas or abhas bhakti. Okay, I'm reading this verse, which is partly quoted. Smaranta smarayantascha mito gaugya gauga haram harim bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya.
The phrase first, which is not party quoted Bharat, is unclear.
Bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya bibhrata utfulakam tanum. Prabodh, one of the nine yogis, said to Maharaj Nimi, thus attaining prema bhakti arising from sadhana bhakti. Bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. Sadhana bhakti will give rise to prema bhakti. The devotee remembers and reminds others of the Lord is a destroyer of sins. Smaranti smarayante cha mito auga haram harim. They exist in a state of ecstasy, thrilled with joy. Bibrit utfulkam tanum. So this, is sometimes mentioned as the essence of Bhagavatam. When one is really chanting and dancing in ecstasy and completely forgotten about this material world. He forgot that he has a material body also. So this is the uh, uh, this is completely the goal of bhakti. So bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya. So now I'm just one important point I want to make is what there is sadhana and there is sadhya. Now means, this is called as means and goals or ends. So for karma, karma yoga, the means is sadhana and sadhya is swarga in one side generally. Gyan yoga, it is liberation, Brahma Sayuj. And in Ashtanga Yoga, there is also liberation, but it is called as Paramatma Sayuj. Or sometimes uh, this is called as Ishwar Sayuj. I'm just writing the short forms. So all these three paths, when they attain sadhya, they give up Karma Yoga or Gyan Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga practices. They give up these practices. Or they stop these practices when they attain the goal. But Bhakti Yoga is sadhana and sadhya is also prema. Sadhana Bhakti is prema. So after prema, what happens? You still continue to practice Bhakti. So the means and ends are the same. So the practices don't decrease, but they rather increase. So sadhana Bhakti, here I can say it. Yeah, Bhakti Yoga is sadhana Bhakti here. So sadhana Bhakti is like unripe mango. And sadhya Bhakti or Bhava or Prema Bhakti is like ripe mango. Same thing becomes more ripe. So who is there who will not, practice Bhakti? And another very important point in the stages of Bhakti. In the karma also there are stages which one goes through. Jnana, there are stages which we go through. Ashtanga Yoga, there are stages you go through. So I'm just giving an example of Ashtanga Yoga now. In Ashtanga Yoga, you do first Yam, Niyam, and then you go to Asanas. And then you go to Pranayam. When you start doing pranayam, you give up asanas. And then you do pratyahar. After pratyahar, you give up pranayam and also asanas. And then you go to dharan. And then you go to dhyan. So the Sankhya philosophers say, they give the example, when one goes to these higher stages, one have to give up the previous stages. Just like, milk converts to yogurt, So once it is converted to yogurt, that yogurt cannot come back to milk. It loses its previous state. And after yogurt, it is converted to ghee. Then when it is ghee, it cannot come back to the previous state of yogurt. It has to give up that stage. So they give this example. But in bhakti, as one reaches the higher stages, he doesn't give up the lower stages. The lower things actually still remain there. And they still continue to exist. So that is the glory of bhakti. And that is why it is called as, the Panchama Purushartha. The Purusharth Shiromani. So, Purusharth Shiromani. So this is the glory of bhakti. This is the glory of bhakti. Now, Tad evam bhagavata iva swarupa bhutaya mahashakte. Bhakti is equivalent to the Lord. Mahashakti. Bhakti is the Swarup Shakti of the Lord, and it is as good as the Lord directly. It's as powerful as the Lord. Now, I want to make a very important point here to end this discussion. Just like this bhakti is as powerful as the Lord, even our aparads are almost equal to the Swarup Shakti of the Lord, which is in the form of bhakti. And that's why these aparads become the main obstacle in attaining bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti. Especially, aparads are almost on the same level. And what does aparadha mean? Aparadha. What which takes away from Radha, Srimati Radharani. Radharani is the personified form of service. So that is why we have to be very careful of offenses. It is only because of offenses that, the bhakti doesn't exhibit as its Mahashakti. Otherwise, bhakti has this all Shaktis. What is it? Sarva Vyapatvam, Sarva Vashikaritvam, Sarva Sanjeevinikatvam, Sarva Utkarsha, Parama Swatantra, Sarva Prakashatvam. So all these qualities are mentioned. So I mentioned it is universally accessible. Sarva Vyapakatvam means it is all pervading. It is there in the Antarctica, it is there in the North Pole, it is there in the South Pole. Anyone can access bhakti. It is there all over the universe. Just like the Lord is pervading all over the universe in his Brahman form. It is all attractive. Sarva Vashikaratvam. And one of the qualities of Prema Bhakti is Shri Krishna Akarshani. Bhakti is so powerful that it can capture even Krishna. Can you imagine that? Out of love again, It gives life to karma, jnana, and yoga. Sarva Sanjeevini Katvam. We saw this quite in detail. It supersedes everything else. Sarva Utkarsha. It is supremely independent. Parama Swatantra. As Krishna is also supremely independent. It is self-manifest. By her desire, she manifests herself to some and does not to others. Sarva Prakashatvam. So basically what we are showing by our enthusiasm to chant, to follow the regulative principles, we are showing our enthusiasm so that ultimately Bhakti Devi is merciful and she will manifest. Ultimately, Bhakti is got by the mercy of the pure devotee. And that's why he makes this point. If still one prefers a process other than Bhakti, then that person is considered bereft of all sense of judgment. What else can be said? If a human being but does not take up to a process of bhakti, then he should not be considered a human being also. Ko vai na sevite vina netaram. Only a non-human would refuse to serve the Lord. So bhakti, everyone has adhikar. Nar matra adhikar. If you're a human being, you're having adhikar for taking up to bhakti. Just like, everyone can take bath in the Magh month. We know the recent Kumbh Mela, Magh month. It is the cold month, Of course, it's very cold, and that is the austerity of to take. But all over the world, people came to take bath, and everyone, just by taking in that bath, and during that time, the bhakti samskars are impregnated. We don't know when they will take up. So that is the glory of bhakti. And if somebody is not ready to take, then he is as good as a animal. So Sut Goswami also in the second canto, criticizes each of the limbs of the Lord. He's like a pashu, he says. I'll not go into the details, but we know that. Okay, so that's how he ends. Iti Maha Mahopadhyaya Srimad Vishwanath Chakravarti Virachitayam Madhurya Kadambiniyam Bhakti Sarvutkarsho Nama Pratama Amrita Vrishti. So that ends the explanation of the first chapter, Pratama Vrishti, the first shower, where Bhakti Sarvutkarsha, this preeminent position of Bhakti has been described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay, now I'm summarizing. The highest understanding of the absolute truth is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So this was first established. Rasava is here. The Lord and Shuddha Bhakti are self-manifest and independent. So Prakashatvam, Swatantra. The Lord bestows his mercy and pure bhakti through a devotee. We saw this whole analysis, how through the Madhyama he does it. The Supreme Lord is subservient to his pure devotees. It's not that the Lord gives inspiration and then he gives. No, the pure devotee is fully independent to do that. Bhakti is not caused by any other process. Rather, it is bhakti which supports the other processes. Sarva Jivani Katvam. Bhakti doesn't depend on purity or faith. Bhakti is not the means of attaining Gyan. Bhakti sometimes plays the role of Gyan's assistant only to support it. We saw this today. Therefore, only an animal would reject Bhakti. So that ends the discussion on the Madhurya Kadambini first shower. Any questions, any clarifications? Anyone has? About this first part we discussed. Any clarifications? Anyone has? Prasanna Lakshmi, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just now we were discussing about Bhakti is equivalent to the Lord and she is as powerful as the Lord. So you were talking
Yes.
about the aparadha also, Prabhuji. Can you
Yes.
please explain a little bit more on that, Prabhuji, please?
Well, Vishwanath Chakra Thakur will devote major portion this in the third shower. Third
Okay.
shower he was going to discuss, so kindly hold on till then.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes. And for now, we should, at least while chanting the holy names, see that we put our 100% attention in hearing the mantra and not to anything else. At least we should be aware that we should not commit namaprad. That much we should
Thank you.
work on. Okay, fine. Okay, so thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hare Krishna.